Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. How is everyone doing today? Jay is on vacation. So today, instead of Jay, we have L.R. Evans. Hello, Luke. How you doing?
Hi, it's me. I talk too much and I'm super hyper.
And how are you today?
I I had a long day, but I'm excited to be here. So it's fine. It's fine. It's all fine.
Ah, all right. Well, we were supposed to have Forgotten Faces on here. Caesar's band that played with Jay last week, and they've got some other arrangements and things going on and all that. So, if we're hopefully next week we will have Forgotten Faces on here. So this week, Luke and I are going to talk about lore, and one of the things, and I'm going to start with vampire lore because when you go throughout all the old vampire movies, they bring out the cross and they're all scared of it, and garlic and holy water and
Mirrors.
um, huh,
Mirrors.
mirrors, yes. And when you watch vampire shows and movies today, they don't adhere to all of these things. I mean, take like Vampire Diaries and the originals. You have vampires that can walk outside during the day because they have a ring made by a witch. Oh,
My cat decided to try and do something she wasn't supposed to do. And that's how I make her stop. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
no, no worries, no worries. I said rings by a witch, and you go. So I was like, "Oh, is that a sign? What's going on here?" No, anyways. Um, so a lot of the lore for vampires has changed, and I've noticed that in our writing spaces, that when we hold spaces, some of the lore that, like, what you're writing, you have a vampire that just hates the taste of Peeps. We'll have to go into that. And I myself, who's writing a book called Blood Schism, the vampires, they can die. If they take enough gunshots, they can die. They don't heal rapidly. They're kind of a uh, weaker version of what people would expect them to be. And they all have different types of powers based upon, their lineage and stuff like that. So, kind of go into like what you've seen and what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I kind of wanted to twist the vampire lore as well, and that was probably subconsciously inspired by all the different ways and all the different takes that we see in media today, like you were bringing up with Vampire Diaries, True Blood, all those other different vampire medias that we see today. Like they take and they give and they change it up, they make it their own, and that's what I wanted to do with the Devil's Name, which hasn't been updated for a while, but Paul keeps trying to get me to continue writing it, and I will eventually, but I'm working on the second book of my
It's
trilogy. I
so
need to finish The
good.
Witcher. I
It's really
know.
good.
But my vampires in the Devil's Name are kind of like yours, not to the same extent, of course. Like they're very different. You've heard my vampires before,
Yes.
but in the way to where you were talking about how yours could die if they take like so many gunshot wounds or some shit. Like they're not
Hmm.
like invincible. Mine actually become more like mortals if they don't feed. So if they've gone like a few days without feeding or whatever, they become like basically mortals. They can get hurt just the same as I can. But if they're fed, then they become the immortal, like you fucking can't kill this thing kind of monster. So if you just lock one up for a few days and stab it, then it dies. Yay! Easy way to fucking hunt vampires in my book, I guess.
Yes. Yes. Well, and traditionally, vampires are considered to be the undead. Okay. My vampires aren't the undead. My vampires are living. They've basically been infected by a vampire's bite, and become a vampire. They don't die. They are a living being, and they consider themselves immortal compared to humans because they live for thousands of years, but they're truly not an immortal. So there's something that's also different with mine, is that my vampires aren't the undead.
That's interesting. I don't like, I haven't done enough outlining. I'm a big outline queen on mine to like really know where they came from. I know I was playing with a few different ideas, but the one thing about mine is that what makes them vampires is that they are possessed by a demon. So they have like, or I call it a demon, but we'll figure out what it actually is later. I have a couple ideas for that too. But that's why it's called the devil's name, because if you know the vampire's demon name, the spirit that's in there with them, and they actually have conversations in their head. You've already read the book. You know what I'm talking about. Well, the first 2 chapters at least, right?
Yes.
But if you know the name of that like demon in their head, then you just say that name and like the vampire dies that way too. So, yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if they really count as undead or not, but I mean, mine doesn't piss and shit. So there's that. I guess you call
has
it undead.
the human being died and come back to life?
I forget what I have in my outlines. They probably do. Sure.
Okay. Well, if the human dies and comes back to life, then that would be the undead. If they don't die, then
keep that.
Yeah,
I'll probably keep it that way.
Yeah, because like Iris and all that, if you remember, when she gets bit, she starts to go delirious. It's because the venom is taking over, and then she's going through all the different phases, and starts to the fangs come and all of the other things that come along with that. She never dies. She doesn't die. So that's like the first thing that kind of hints to the people that she's not dead. Now, granted, she still has to have Donovan, who is the vampire that bites her, still has to have his blood to complete the transition. Okay, so without his blood, so I'm keeping, and again, even then, that goes against the old lore, because the old lore was you had to get bitten 3 times by a vampire to become a vampire. Remember those old movies? Okay, you had to get bitten 3 times by a vampire to become a vampire.
That would be horrible fucking luck, though. Could you imagine getting bit by one vampire and then like you run away and then like another fucking vampire bites you and you run away and then like
it's got to be the same vampire.
You're like, shit.
It's got to be the same. It's got to be the same vampire.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so the vampire would come in the night, would bite you on the neck. You'd wake up, you'd have the vampire bite on your neck, and then later and all that, you'd wake up and now you got another vampire bite on your neck, and then down the road you get bit that 3rd time and you now become a vampire.
I might play with that lore a little bit. I like that. I've never heard it before, not ever, but I might play with that a little bit. But maybe instead of bites, I'll make it kissing, and it can be really, really gay.
Yeah. So technically, when you go to some of the old lore, okay, getting bit 3 times is what made you a vampire, and yet you don't die. But you're assumed to be the undead. So I don't know if it's just assumed that you die and you become the vampire when you wake up or what, but I would have to watch some old movies to find out more about that lore. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember as a kid watching vampire movies, and it's like, oh my God, don't bite her the 3rd time. Don't bite her the 3rd time.
I've never heard of it. Not ever. This is my first time hearing it. I feel like it's one of those old things that can be made new again. And now I kind of want to like maybe put that in Devil's Name somewhere. Like not so much like, it's what turns you into a vampire, but I can make something else happen with it. Like maybe it's a way that you get like a super magical power or something, or how you get your gift or whatever. I don't know. I'm going to play with it. And now I want to write the Devil's Name instead of working on the sequel. I just got motivation to start working on the sequel. Don't do this.
That was my plot to get you in here talking about vampires, just knowing the Devil's Name would come to be.
It was a trick, and I fell for it. But I wonder, like, how we keep twisting and changing the vampire lore, like the original, and how there's so many variations in the media now. What constitutes a vampire now? Like, how far can you go before like it's not a vampire anymore?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, that was a really easy segue into my Fenrils that I was going to talk about in, the Remworld trilogy that you don't want me to write, apparently. But the Fenrils actually feed on blood, but all they are is they're giant shape-shifting cats, basically. And most of them do sex work in the book. So, like, they run clubs and, they become whoever you want them to be when they're in their sex worker role. So they're really highly sought after in the sex working world. So people go to the Fenrir realm to pick out an escort because they can become whoever you want. And the way that they survive is by feeding on blood. And if they don't get blood, like that's their only source of food. If they don't get blood, they die. So are these giant shape-shifting cats, are they vampires or are they something else?
Oh, there's something else that have traits of vampirism.
So where's the line? Where's the line? How many traits from the original lore of vampires does something have to qualify it as a vampire? Because
oh
yours
my
is
goodness,
undead.
look who's here. Look who's here. Maybe he can answer the question. They can answer the question. Jay.
Jay!
Oh my
You're
goodness.
just in
What are you
time.
doing, brother?
Nothing. So flight got pushed back a little bit, but it's tomorrow, so I'm leaving tomorrow. I decided to pop in because, well, I couldn't resist the topic.
Okay. So have you been listening to the conversation?
Yes, I've been listening to the conversation. God damn it, guys.
Okay. So where's the line where you go from being a vampire to the creature is no longer a vampire?
Okay. So I believe that a vampire can take many interpretations. One of my favorite, like, non-traditional vampire would be the Strigoi, courtesy of Guillermo del Toro. So the Strigoi is just the host of this giant worm-like creature that just pops out of the mouth and like drains the person, but it like changes the biology of its host to the point where it like, God, it like physically transforms it and it's unrecognizable from an actual human. I think they lose their nose and everything and genitals. But yeah, so it's kind of gross.
So is that still a vampire or is that some other life form?
Technically, yeah, I would say still a vampire. I think what qualifies a vampire is its need to feed off human blood, the sanguine part of being a vampire.
So my Fenrils are vampires.
So who's a vampire?
My Fenrils in the Remworld trilogy, because they feed on blood. It's their only source of sustenance. But they're giant shape-shifting cats that do sex work mostly. Well, most of them do sex work, is what I should say. And like run their own
I think they have vampire qualities, but I don't think they're vampires. And
this is where the conversation comes in. Are they vampires or are they not?
They would be of the sanguine. I know that there's folklore in Mexico of not only the chupacabras, but also there's these horrid, like, mosquito-esque type of vampires that they have there. So, like, their MO is, they only really come out at night. They don't really like the smell of garlic, but they're mosquito-based. Because mosquitoes also don't really like the smell of garlic. Mosquitoes mostly flourish when the sun starts going down. They're starting to they get attracted to, like, your homes and lights that you have inside.
Okay, so hold on. So if your theory is that they have to drink blood to survive, and that's what makes them a vampire, would zombies then not be vampires?
Brains. Plain and simple, brains.
Brains, okay. Because the zombie goes for the brains.
Yes.
But not all zombies go for brains. Some zombies eat guts.
True. I think the zombie is more akin to like cannibalistic type of undead. So I mean, it'd be along the family of like the Wendigo as well and stuff like that. Since it's semi-cannibalistic.
Now, do you have to be undead to be a vampire?
No. My only example for that is the psychic vampire. Psychic vampires are not undead.
Okay. Now, my vampires never die. They're still human in context. When you get transformed, it's because you're bitten and you now have what makes the vampire a vampire. But the person
like
who becomes a
Lord,
vampire
right?
doesn't die.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because yours is more biologically based, so it's where like the bite infects them and it changes their biological makeup.
Correct.
What's so funny is that Jay said that most vampires like want to be in only come out at night, and they usually like sleep during the day. And since my Fenrils are giant shape-shifting cats, they sleep all day and they only go out at night to party. So that's cool for me. Fenrils are vampires.
Now, some of the other old lore that goes with vampires is that when they sleep, they have to sleep in their coffin, in the dirt from their homeland.
Yeah. Does yours have to do that?
Nope.
Neither does mine.
No.
Since
we
Fenrils
lost
are
Jay.
Yeah, we did. We could still hear like the screechy feedback though, which is nice.
Yeah, we got feedback from you, Jay.
All the feedback. Bad feedback. Bye.
Yeah, because see, that's another old theory and all, because, when they would go hunting the vampire and all that, they'd go during the day and try to find its lair, and they would try to stab it in the heart while it was in its coffin, and in its coffin is its dirt from its homeland. So it always had to have its dirt from its homeland. I think Vampire Diaries also does that. I think they have to have dirt from their homeland, but I think the originals gets away from it because they're so old they don't have to have the dirt.
No, Vampire Diaries doesn't. I am a huge Damon Salvatore fan, so I've rewatched that series a million times. The lore for the Vampire Diaries vampires is if they go out in the sun without a daylight ring, they burst into flame. They have super hearing. They have super speed. Werewolf bites will kill them. Stake to the heart will kill them. And they can also dream walk. So like if somebody's unconscious, they can get into their brains and be in their dreams and communicate with them in their dreams. And I think that covers everything.
Yes. Well, and then you had what's his name that was the hybrid in
Klaus.
That was the hybrid and all that if he bit another vampire, he'd kill him because he was a werewolf vampire hybrid.
But his blood would also cure them. He was both the bane and the cure. I loved that. That was a nice.
Yes. I know. I tell you, I like the deviations from lore, and that's one of the inspirations behind writing Blood Schism is because, first of all, I haven't. If anybody knows of a author out there that wrote anything with vampires and druids together, let me know. I'd like to read it because I'm bringing vampires and druids together.
That's going to be so fun.
Yeah,
I might have aliens in mine. I might combine UFOs, aliens with my vampires.
Nice. And see, and I like that when we combo up different lines of, different genres, basically, of monsters, I guess. I mean, when you really think about it and all that, the original creations go all the way back to werewolf, mummy, Frankenstein, vampire, how they, would start bringing them all together and completely different aspects, And then, of course, now you got ghost spirits and witches that are being brought in. What's the name of that show and all that, where you have the werewolf, the ghost, and the I forget what the other one is, a vampire, I think.
Shit, I forget. I know which show you're talking about, though.
Yeah, there's a UK version and there's a US version.
Let me Google. Ghost, spirit, vampire, and I think they were roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosts. That's the name of it. It was on CBS.
What's it called?
Ghost. No. Being Human.
Being Human. That's it.
Yep, 2011 to 2014. Oh, it's only 3 seasons.
I know, but I loved the UK version. The UK version was really, really good. Kind of like the UK version of Shameless versus the US version of Shameless. You got to go the UK version. It's just so much fucking funnier.
Don't kill me. I haven't watched either of those. And I only saw 1 episode of Being Human.
Yeah. Now, Being Human, the UK version is pretty damn good. I really liked it. But again, though, comboing up, changing up lore, doing different things. I like True Blood, how they brought in different things. And I'm disappointed because they got into these like Werecats, and they didn't go deeper into the Werecats. Yeah, Werecats. Instead of a werewolf, a werecat.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. For some reason, I was going cat dog, little world, a little cat dog. I don't know why.
Yeah, they were cats that could turn into humans and back into the cougar, you know. So I wanted them to go more into that, and they just didn't do it, you know. I would have loved it. I would have loved it, but
I didn't even get that far. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, that's the sad thing about True Blood is by the time you get into the 3rd or 4th season or whatever it is, it starts to deviate away from other things, and it's not that it's bad that it deviates out. It's just that it left too many things open. You know, I truly think they were going to go further with it, and just simply didn't have the following after a while. I think is what happened, but you know, who knows? Who knows?
People were saying that about the Supernatural series, and they were also saying it about the Vampire Diaries series. But I was one of those diehard fans for like both of those franchises, and I could not. I didn't see any flaws at all. I just loved it. I was like, wherever you take me is where I will go, and I will enjoy every minute of it.
Now, see, now I started to watch Supernatural, and I think I only got through like 1 season. I think the 2nd season when one of the brothers started becoming the devil or whatever, or was gonna, you know, thought he was the devil or whatever the case was.
I mean, that's like season 6 or 7 or something crazy. Like there's 14 seasons, so
Okay. Well, maybe I got that far into it. When he thought he was like the devil, it was just like, okay, it was starting to get repetitive to me. Like it's the same battle over and over, you know, and I got bored with it.
They get meta about that too. They're like, it's the same shit every day. But like, even though the battles are pretty much the same, it's the character growth for me. And the fact that it's Sam and Dean, like my heart.
Yeah. Sam. That's it. Sam.
But
it was Sam that became the devil.
Yeah. Sam, I don't think Sam became. Oh, okay. You're talking about when Lucifer wanted to like possess Sam, right?
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah, because he was his one true vessel. Yep, gotcha. This is another really interesting one for vampires, though, because they have their own vampire lore as well. Like their teeth, for example, are like all like fucked up. Like there's a bunch of like really sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Vampires, that one. One bite does turn you. You can only kill them by beheading them. You have to behead a vampire in order to kill them in that one. And the blood, like getting the blood on you, that's what turns you. It's not the bite. It's getting the blood, their blood in your mouth.
Okay.
That is what actually turns you.
Okay. Yeah, and again, another deviation. I can't remember the name of it. There was a science fiction movie that was out in space, and they had space vampires. And yeah, alien vampires basically. And they relied on blood and trying to remember. And it's not that they required human blood; they required any kind of blood from any creature or something. I think I can't remember. God, it was long ago, But
I need
that
to
was
know
a
the title if there's aliens involved with the vampires, because then I have to find like a new shtick for the Devil's Name.
well, no, I mean it was, they didn't call them vampires, but that's the impression you got by how they acted. And they were in outer space, so it was an alien creature that basically was, vampire like. So that would be the association you would make, is that, oh my God, they're alien vampires. I think it's
Googling.
something from the 80s. My God, I think it's just that old.
Let me find it. And it was a show, or
It was a movie. It was a movie.
okay, movie. Enter. Here's one from 1985 called Life Force.
I think that's it.
I'm a Google queen. Look at me go.
I think that's it.
A race of space vampires arrives in London and infects the populace, beginning an apocalyptic descent into chaos. I have to watch this.
Bingo. That's it. That's it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it's a little different from what I was going to do. Like, I was going to have my vampires kind of like I had one line that I was going to descend from aliens, and another that I was going to descend from oh shit, I forget who it was. I think like witches or something was involved, but like I don't know exactly what I was doing. I have it written down somewhere. I've given up on that one. I've given up on it. I'm working on the second book in the RimWorld trilogy, and I will come back to the Devil's Name when I have time. But yeah, Life Force. I'm gonna watch that. It's gonna be so fun. I bet you I can watch it for free with ads on YouTube.
What's that? I'm sorry. Say that last part
Life
again.
Force. I figure I can. Oh, I said I can probably watch Life Force for free with ads on YouTube. I need to check that out.
Yes. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Daigle and all that. He's sent me a message and all that. Hey, where are your quests? What happened? I don't know what he means.
Quests?
Yeah.
And I click.
I just sent him back a question mark. I wonder if he thought I was doing the interview today with Lana Quest. That's the interview with Lana Quest is on Friday.
I don't know.
Yeah. Then the other interesting lore is zombies. Originally zombies weren't even the undead. Originally zombies were a voodoo curse.
Oh, that's right, because it was kind of like a way to get somebody to do your will for you. It was kind of like your own puppet, right?
Yeah. The zombies would be controlled by a voodoo queen and would make them do their evil doings and everything. And then, of course, the person and all that was, turned into the zombie for the moment would not remember anything that he or she did. So, and my God, I remember some of those old. You got to remember, I'm in my 50s, so I remember back in the 70s when a lot of these were in like black and white, and I can remember this one voodoo queen and all that had like these just 20 or 30 zombies that she would control and take people in and make them prisoners and stuff like that, and control the will of the town by organizing. And I mean, it was an amazing thing. And again, you have to go back to that time and era for what zombies became. And then, of course, you have Night of the Living Dead, which kind of it basically took everything about zombies and made it something new. Have you ever watched Night of the Living Dead, the original?
I've read the Goosebumps book, Night of the Living Dead, which actually gave me nightmares and a fear of puppet like wood dummies.
Oh my God. You have got to watch the original Night of the Living Dead. There are so many iconic aspects about that. I mean, first of all, one, it's in black and white. And it starts out where this young couple go to this cemetery to pay their respects. And the husband or the boyfriend, I can't remember if it was a husband or boyfriend, started goofing around with his wife/girlfriend that, they're coming to get you, and goes up and basically takes on the first zombie that makes its appearance, and she runs and goes to this house. And then there is a black guy that goes into this, and basically the black guy is what keeps everybody under control. Okay. And I mean, for the time and the era, this was huge because he's like the main character, and is the only one that has any sane, logical thought, So, I mean, it's just like, wow. And for that era, it's just, that in itself is remarkable. And what's really sad is, of course, at the end, everybody ends up dying in it, that was in the house. But still, great movie. I watched that when I was a little kid with my dad, and that movie was the first movie to give me nightmares. And I watched a lot of horror movies. That movie gave me nightmares. I was scared for a while from that movie.
I'm trying to remember, because as soon as you were talking about movies where the black character actually was, had a major role and survived at the end, although this one didn't, it reminded me of another story, another show that I watched where he lived, and I can't find it. It's just a scene in my head where like they run out this tunnel and he actually survives. And now that's going to bug me until I find it. So now I'm scrolling on Google.
While you're doing that, Dago writes, I meant guests, guys. Sorry. That's from when he DM'd me and all that. Dago, we were supposed to have Forgotten. What's the band's name now? Forgotten Faces.
Forgotten Faces.
And they had to reschedule. So with Jay out on vacation, and Jay popped in for a minute. He's a day behind on his flight, but he popped in for a minute. Luke will be hosting the show for the next this week, and then the next 2 more episodes next 2 weeks, while Jay's on vacation. Hopefully, if everything goes right, we will have Forgotten Faces on here next week.
I think I found it. I think it was House on Haunted Hill. Also, pretend I responded to what you just said. That's what it is. Number 5, Taye Diggs in House on Haunted Hill. Taye Diggs convinces the spirit haunting him and a group of descendants that he's actually adopted and don't even rock with these white folks like that. I love it. I don't think it's the same one as the one that I remember, but that one, that just reminded me. Right. I love that one.
No, but I encourage everyone before Halloween, watch Night of the Living Dead. You gotta watch it. It is like the ultimate classic horror movie. For its time and era, it was very well done. Of course, a lot of people, this is kind of where The Walking Dead makes fun of the Night of the Living Dead, because basically they can have like 20 zombies and all that, and 2 people can go out there with a sword and a baseball bat and take them all out. Where in the Night of the Living Dead, basically they're slow moving. They think they can get through them, but they come too fast on you, and once they get on you, obviously you don't have a fighting chance. But yeah,
this I can't believe this slipped right past us in the comment section. Nanya, whatever, fuck it. I'm calling you Ari. What's up? Anyway, she says Zamboners. And I started thinking about it because that's what I do. When rigor mortis sets in males, and their penises tend to stiffen, right? So
Okay.
zombies are dead. Zombies are dead. So they're literally, they have to be walking around with boners the entire time that they're trying to hunt people down. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Well, rigor mortis only lasts for a little while. Okay.
So only the new zombies have boners while they try to eat people.
Technically, according to what you guys are talking about, yes. A few hours after they die, rigor mortis sets in, and then yes, they would, and that's only going to last for a few hours, and then bam, it's done.
Until it eventually rots off.
Yes. Yes.
Could you imagine coming across a zombie penis? Like you're I imagine that's one of the first limbs to fall off, to be honest. I mean, that's the one with the least connection out of all the limbs.
And Ari Nana said, you can have my brain, but that's it.
I saw, ew, I don't like you like that, sir. What are we talking? What are we talking about? Are we talking about the zombie?
I believe that's what she's talking about.
Ari, you can't go by looks alone, okay? The dating pool is shrinking. It's a post-apocalyptic world. Take what you get.
Exactly. Take what you can get.
Dies alone.
Just remember,
I would.
I'm taking the Walmart and I am Negan.
Yes. My relationships would be short-lived because I'm very visual centric. Date somebody until they start to stink. They'll be like, never mind, we're good.
Yeah. Now, back to zombies. So what do you think of things like Z Nation and Resident Evil, where instead of being like I guess zombies would be like a bacteria that's more like a virus where they can run fast and be turn into different creatures and stuff. What do you think about that? You know, as far as like the zombie lore and then how it changes.
A zombie shapeshifter?
Yeah.
No, it's not in the comments. I thought you said that.
Not so much a shapeshifter as they become something different, more of a demon. They because the virus changes them and makes them taller, bigger, more, Gollum-like,
I haven't even heard that one before. The only time that I've heard of something getting bigger and like as a zombie was the game that I fucking hate playing, Resident Evil. I remember that like the early 2000s. I played Resident Evil. I can't whatever that fucking giant monster zombie thing was that we had to fucking fight. I could never fucking kill it. It just kept killing me. So I rage quit that game so bad. That's the only time I've heard that lore.
Yeah. Okay. Jay's back. Should we let him up?
No, kick him out. No, it's cool. Bring him up. Bring them up. Hello.
Hi. All right. You guys were talking about like forced mutation virus and zombies, which causes them to mutate.
Yes. Mutant zombies. There we go. Mutant zombies.
Adam. Yes. Anaya. Yes. Fuck Adam. Anyway, go ahead.
Who's Adam?
From Resident Evil. Isn't that the giant dude that I couldn't fucking kill? Something else.
I only remember him as Nemesis.
Nemesis, that's the one. That is the one for sure. I know I seemed excited about Adam, but it's probably just because I recognized it. But yes, it's Nemesis. I fucking hate Nemesis. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, Resident Evil does that, where the zombies like mutate and all that stuff and get kind of weirder. I know that Left 4 Dead, that franchise, did it up like crazy. You'd have like giant fucking monsters, zombies.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the changes in the lore from? We started out where originally zombies weren't even the undead. Zombies were a curse. Control. A voodoo queen would, a voodoo person would control people using herbs and stuff like that. So they actually didn't die. They were just brainwashed into being a zombie. Then we went into Night of the Living Dead, which kind of changed the whole zombie genre of the whole voodoo aspect into something different, And then, of course, you had the Living Dead franchises. So, what's your thoughts? And then, of course, we advanced to Resident Evil, where you now have mutants.
Personally, I like the modern take on it, like where it's all man-made, manufactured fucking diseases and infectations and stuff like that. I'm even a fan of like it came from space and now everybody's infected kind of thing, like alien spores turned us into zombies. So I really like that kind of stuff. It's a bit more fun. It's a bit modern. There's a lot of room to grow there. If it was genetically engineered, then yeah, the zombies could be whatever you want.
Yeah. Now, how about now? Even though they're not zombies, you basically have the alien possession of a human being. Going back to like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where again you talked about spores. These spores come down, and people get infected with the spores, and basically they are no longer who they are. They become somebody else, and grow these eggs. So basically, what they do is clone the human using their material and create exact duplicates of human beings. So, what are your thoughts like on something like that? Because I'm thinking about doing a mix of that with that and vampires.
So like spore possessed zombie vampires?
Well, just you remember? Have you ever watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Yeah.
Okay. That's basically plants cloning human beings and creating a alien basically that looks like the human that they're supposed to start to represent. Now, imagine if they were more vampire like, or kind of like what Anaya just said, Parasite, or is that the name of a movie you're talking about?
Parasite is the name of a Korean film, if I'm not mistaken, but I think it might be talking about a video game, if I'm not mistaken. There was one.
Anayat loves K dramas, C dramas, and J dramas. So my money is on a Korean movie, but we'll see.
All right. Thank you for clearing that up. What did we clear up, Veronica?
I feel like we were all chaotic this entire time. I'm
Yeah,
confused to answer any question.
I'm more confused than when we started.
Same.
Well, Jay, you're always confused, but we allow that.
That's pretty much it. I'm in a constant state of confusion.
I'm waiting for another comment. Which is fucking brilliant trope? Okay. All right. You're confusing me, Louie. But that's okay.
We talk about.
Okay, and then of course Ed's just like, I like Jay's sunglasses. I've had enough of this. I just like Jay's sunglasses.
These? Or these?
I like those.
There's constantly sunglasses just littered everywhere, like vehicles, living room, in my room, in other people's rooms. Anyway, sunglasses everywhere.
Maybe we ought to do a story kind of like The Mask with Jim Carrey, but instead of a mask, we do it with sunglasses where they just suck to your face and change your whole perception of life.
So Anayat has decided to add to the confusion rather than clarify anything. about Parasite, she's just said another comment, and then her next comment is just 2 little arrows pointing up. That's it. She's not going to tell us. She's refused to clarify which parasite. So now we're just stuck in limbo where we discuss all of these 24 days of Jesus. Yay. Anyway, where we have to like decide which
All right, so that 24 days of Jesus thing, that starts in December, right?
Yeah, we all need to get working on our shit.
Oh, now that I am looking forward to.
Me too.
24 Days of Jesus.
I actually need to start writing that.
For those that don't know, a lot of us writers are going to put together stories from the Bible and our own words and our own interpretations. So this is going to be quite interesting, I believe. Oh, and Addict's already started, so yes.
Addict started, I think, Autumn. Like, I don't know if we should be saying names, though, to be completely honest. Because
Right.
some of them want to stay confidential. Like, they want to, like, hide behind a pen name when we do the anthology.
I have 3 outlines that I've started. I just don't know which way I'm going to go.
Yeah. I already know exactly what I'm writing. I just need to sit down and start writing it. And I'm going to start doing that soon. Like I'm already starting to block off time for writing in my planners and stuff like that. Now that I'm like back into, writer mode where I'm working on the sequels and I'm doing Preptober and all that. So I will be prepping for the Jesus fanfic as well. That way that can be done by the end of November and ready to be shared on your show in December if you decide that you're still going to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my outlines, I've decided that I'm thinking about having, I'm taking from Revelations and I'm putting in there like a conversation that Jesus has with God on, and it's going to be a take back on why Jesus came to be on the cross and everything, and why December 25th had to be the day that's recognized for his resurrection. And it was specifically to take away from this guy that was going to be born in the 1960s and all that, so that he would be miserable being born on Christmas and that he would get no recognition.
Oh, I wonder who that could be. I love that. I love it. I can't wait to hear it.
So I'm thinking about like it's preordained and it's in Revelations and there's a reason why.
Like fuck this guy in particular.
Because he would never write a book if he wasn't born on this day. So we have to lead him into buying this book and being an atheist and not believing in us.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait to see what you do with it. I'm not self-inserting in mine, and now I kind of want to because you did that, but I'm not. I'm doing some kind of like...
Well, you can, because I may not. That's only one of the aspects. I have another one where, again, going to Revelations, where Lucifer and Jesus team up against God. And that Jesus denounces being actually of the Father, so
the son fucking disowns the Father. Like, no,
yes,
you're not really my dad. I found my dad. It's Lucifer. I love Lucifer. Lucifer's the fucking greatest.
Yes.
This is my daddy now.
Leave it and look. It's now gay. It's now canonically gay.
It's all gonna be gay.
Yes. Well, and there is a part in there. There is a part in there where they're lovers. So I mean, I am making it gay because I want to go true sacrilegion. I mean, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it upright. So that the way you guys are loving this one, I think this is the one that I'm going to go with. Jesus bringing Lucifer back up, becoming buddies, best friends, taking on the world.
Lucifer / Jesus for the win.
Turn into like the most heretic feel Bonnie and Clyde retelling in the most homoerotic sense. It's great.
love
It sells itself. It sells itself.
My book, my Jesus fanfic wasn't even going to be gay, but now I have to do it. Like, I'm making him basically Damien in it, like, you know, because like behind closed doors, his parents are like, "Go clean your room," and he's like, "I'll throw you down the stairs," and then he does it. So like that's what I'm kind of making my character as, but everyone thinks it's like this total cherub. So like mine's like childhood. Maybe I could age him up and then make him gay. Like I'll do like the first half in childhood, and then like I'll age him up. That way I can have my gay, because
Well-
now I want to do gay.
Well, the other thing that I'm thinking about doing, because I've been going back over a lot of the writings of the Bible, going back to like Acts and Leviticus and Kings, where a lot of the Roman gods are mentioned in the Bible. Okay, Pollux, Artemis, Zeus, and what I'm thinking about doing is actually bringing in like basically the Avengers type aspect of gods. You know, where Jesus and Lucifer team up with Zeus and Artemis and Pollux, and just all rebel against God and the far right extremists. So
God rage quits, and that's why bad things happen to good people.
yeah, so
I'll go make my own universe.
So basically, they all come together like the Avengers, and I'm basically making God into like Thanos.
That's accurate, because he literally just goes like, "I don't like what y'all are doing. Flood it all, start from scratch."
Yeah, yeah.
Now we got some things over here. Ed saying Noir Jesus coming up.
Noir Jesus.
Daigle wants to tell you that the storyline for yours is quite dark. I noticed it came up at the same time as you were talking. Then there's something about Hocus Pocus 2 and Zombie
Was that
Booners.
Nyatt? Was that
me? I quit. No, it's Veronica. Ew.
Ew.
I'm excited about the Noir Jesus, though, for real. Like, how's that going to work? Noir Jesus. Imagine Jesus in the 50s. Is it the 50s?
It'll be
Is
gritty.
that noir or is
It'll
that
be
the
great.
50s?
Wait. Ed, I have a question for Ed out there. Is it like a Noir Jesus retelling, like who done Jesus in? Who killed it? Where it's like the other apostles are trying to like hard boil and figure out who amongst them is the traitor, and then it's like, it was Judas the whole time. You rat, you snake, you bastard. Or what is it? What exactly are you having in mind with the Noir Jesus?
Come on, Ed. Don't leave us hanging. What's going on with Noir Jesus?
What happened with Noir Jesus? What's happening?
It's like, now I need to read that. I just want to see. I'm just imagining Jesus like all like world weary. He's got some scruff on his chin, not like a full beard, just like 5 o'clock shadow. And he's sitting at a bar with his scotch on the rocks. And he's like, "It was a cold day in December when I was born." Or something.
That would be fun too. Honestly, the concept itself is solid. It's really solid.
He's got to solve a murder.
Solve his own murder. Who done him in?
We add supernatural aspect to the Noir Jesus story. I love it.
Yeah, because he resurrected and all that, but maybe no, he did know that it was Judas. Never mind. It wouldn't be lore accurate.
Well,
Oh,
it
well.
would be more accurate because like he's psychic, but maybe he has to figure out like why Judas turned him in and like try and stop it. Then he realizes that he told Judas to turn him in the whole time. So like he's the reason he died.
He was his own reason. Oh, what a twist. Not even Chameleon would have guessed that one.
Ed's not replying to us, so I can only assume that Ed left and isn't watching us anymore. So Ed.
Now, my third outline that I have is basically Jesus and the 12 apostles. I'm going to go with Black Jesus and the 12 apostles all being black except one, Judas. And the creation of racism, where the white Judas turns Jesus in.
Sorry, I'm trying to imagine all this. See, where I would have taken it is that maybe everyone's so racist that they decide to use Judas's picture as their savior after the fact, so many years later, because like he's white. But like,
Mhm.
like I kind of like that kind of.
That's the route that I was gonna go.
Okay. Oh, Ed's replied, Jesus at Bethlehem Bar outrunning detectives from Pontius Pilate. I love that.
That's the one. That's the one right there. That's a good one.
Yes.
Pontius Pilate. Yes.
These are going to be some fucking fire ass stories because we have like a lot of talent in this group that's already participating.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And of course, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for suggesting that Jesus was black to begin with. Of course, if people would actually read the book, they would see that Jesus was black.
I don't think that anybody will even notice mine. I'm going to just write it and they'll probably ignore me as they should.
I doubt that. You never give yourself enough credit, Luke. I tell you, you are a phenomenal writer. Kind of like Ed. Ed never gives himself enough credit. He's a phenomenal writer.
It's mostly self-deprecating humor, but also it's good for me because it keeps me humble. So I don't want my head to get too big.
Yes, Veronica. I know Jesus was black. I said that. Nobody reads the Bible. If they'd actually read the Bible, they would see that Jesus was actually black. And the picture of Jesus we have now is like Da Vinci's lover or something. I can already see the hate mail that I'm going to get for that.
I like how we went from
Jesus is white. Jesus is white. Yeah, okay. Read your book.
I like how we went from like vampire and zombie lore to just talking about Jesus.
It's
like,
still lore. It's still lore.
This wasn't even our fault though. It was the commenters that threw us off track. And I'm pretty sure it was Anayat who caused this whole ass mess.
Well, it's still lore. I mean, Jesus, the lore of Jesus, when you really think about it, how it's been transitioned over the centuries and centuries and centuries. You know, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, Jesus was a progressive socialist. They would hang him today. I mean, my God.
Yeah, no, it was Anayat. At 7:47 p.m., she made that comment. It is now 7:59 p.m. Thanks, Anayat. It's 15. Jesus is a trope. I quit. Look what you did, Anayat. We were talking about zombies and vampires. We haven't even got to like the ghost thing yet or anything.
How about werewolves? That lore has pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah, it hasn't changed all that much.
Yeah, full moon.
We can really fuck with that. Tweak it.
Yeah, there's not much.
I've noticed.
How would you mess with the werewolf lore? I mean, what would you do to change
So,
that?
Well, there's lots.
lycanthropy. That itself is a concept that expands like beyond, because there are also like were-bats or were-cats or were-tigers. There's a car leaving right next to me. This is great.
Oh, I know it's expansive, but I mean, you know, and again, there's lots of different theories on how it all began, you know, the curse of a witch and stuff like that. And I'm sure that we could transform that around a little bit. You know, people have messed with the creation of the werewolf. But as far as, I like that. Veronica. Yes, werewolves are as trans metaphor.
Well, I mean, in that case, all transformation can be looked at as the trans metaphor. Vampires included, zombies even. I mean,
The caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah.
Ooh, my.
Have you guys noticed that werewolf lore and vampire lore gets like intermingled quite a lot?
Yes.
Oh yeah, like they're usually side by side. Like the werewolf is usually the bane to the vampire. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
noticed that.
Or the fact that both of them can be killed by a silver bullet. I never realized, like, why vampires silver? Why?
That's because silver was originally thought to be a pure metal, and it was thought that any kind of malevolent spirit or energy could not be reflected off of silver. So, like it became a bane to anything that wasn't of the light. That's why vampires couldn't see themselves in the mirror because it was silver backed. It used to be actual silver on the back of mirrors that caused the reflection. Now it's just like gray paint, but it used to be actual silver.
Right.
And so that's why vampires couldn't see the reflection, because of the pure metal on the back of it that actually allowed the reflection to come through. I knew something.
Yeah, no, that's exactly why.
Yeah, but there were many metals that were considered sacred. Amongst silver was also gold. And of the two, you had silver, which represented, the moon in many cases, and gold, which represented the sun in many cases. It would make more sense if vampires hated gold.
Facts. Oh, you could play with that. That's something to play with. Like everyone's like it's silver, but it's not. Like it's gold. Gold is of the sun. That's what killed. Fuck it. Just shoot me with a silver bullet. Go ahead, try. I'd let it fly if I was a vampire. I'd be like, I'm not correcting you. It's fine. Nobody correct him. Ari says, isn't it something to do with the blood? I haven't heard that regarding the metals, but maybe. I don't know a whole lot about original vampire lore, Ari, at all. I need to do more studying on that. I usually just make my own creatures and just be like, this is what this creature does. Yay. Except for the Devil's Name, where I tried to play, but I gave up on it to work on the sequel for the trilogy.
Yeah. Apparently, I think originally the vampire had to do with a gypsy curse.
I feel like that's the plot of Angel.
I think the original vampires had to do with an angel or a gypsy curse, the creation of vampires.
The original?
Yeah.
Are we talking like original as in like Bram Stoker's depiction of vampires and all that?
I'm talking
'Cause I know
before Bram. I'm talking way before. I'm talking like the original
like
creation of vampires that was taken
Athena?
after Vlad. That was created after Vlad, the guy that used to drink his enemy's blood and put their heads on spikes. Because that's where the original vampire stories come from. It's actually a European creation, and I think it was based on um, um, gypsy lore.
So the weird thing about vampires, if we're talking about like way back ancient vampires, there is actually mention the Jiangxi, which is the hopping vampire, which it's like ancient China empire type of stuff. And then there was, of course, in the Latin countries, there was also like a depiction of a vampire, this vampiric god, which is another even more ancient sort of depiction of vampires. So truthfully, like if we're talking about just to the Vlad point, oh, that doesn't even scratch the surface. Vlad must have been inspired by even more ancient monsters that drank blood. I sent everybody down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
Everyone's
No,
ignoring
I'm looking up the original creation of vampires.
We decided to just ignore you, Jay. That's what we're doing.
Oh, that's fine. What the fuck am I doing here anyway? See you guys later
Go
next
ahead.
Tuesday.
No, it's your turn. Host the show. I'm out.
Fucking
Okay.
hell.
Vampires probably originating in folklore were widely reported from Eastern Europe in the late 17th and 18th centuries. These tales form the basis of the vampire legend that later entered Germany and England, where they were subsequently embellished and popularized.
I'm getting every single notification, Luke. Why are you on Twitter?
Don't tell me what to do. You're not my boss. I was liking your tweet and retweeting it, but all right. You know what? I won't support you again. It's fine.
That's not what I meant at all.
I joke at just a kid. Oh, what's this? Daigle. Silver shot was used or recommended. Vampire hunter Montague Summers penned is notoriously unreliable. The vampire, his kith and kin. Punctuation, Daigle. Punctuation. Garo says the originals were cadavers that woke up to have a sip on the lives of people. The pyre, probably from Slavic upir. I think I'm pronouncing this shit correctly. There are older versions of specters and cadavers and monsters. Cadavers that woke up. That makes sense because remember, no, Orion, get the fuck away from my shit. Thank you. Anyway, you remember back when like there used to be bell ringers? Oh, it wasn't bell ringers, dead ringers, where people they bury people and they tie a string to their hand to their pinky, and then like there would be a bell up at the top, and if they woke up because they weren't really dead, they'd move, and then it would ring the bell, and they'd come out and like dig them up real fast. So we know that that was a thing. So maybe that's where this kind of came from. Like the cadavers, like they did die and they came back to life though, and they dug themselves out of the grave, and then they came and feasted on the blood of people. I want to write a story now. I'm sorry, I'll quit talking.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I found something else from history.com where the Middle Ages, vampire superstition thrived in the Middle Ages, especially as the plague decimated entire towns. The disease often left behind bleeding mouth lesions on its victims, which to the uneducated was a sure sign of vampirism. So, again, you can go take it all the way back to the Middle Ages for vampirism. But, you know, it's believed that Bram Stoker actually is the one that created Count Dracula from Vlad Dracul, you know, who fought off the Ottoman Empire. So, I mean, now I want to do a lot of vampire research to find out more about the origin stories and, you know, try to find out what are some of the oldest recorded ones.
I know off the top of my head, Carmina is even older than Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
So definitely start there. Carmina's like fucking awesome, honestly.
Yeah, check that out. I haven't even heard of that. It's a pretty name. Also, Daigle says Dracula, meaning junior in Romanian. He was prince, not a count. He was forgotten in history for quite some time, except in his home country where I grew up. Stoker rewrote the story, adding folklore.
Okay.
I like how this has just become like a deep dive research session into vampirism.
All right. Fucking, that'll be Tuesday's next show. Vampires. What are they? Where do they come from? Where do they go?
Well, that depends upon if Forgotten Faces shows up or not.
Oh, that's right. Forgotten Faces. Caesar in the lot.
Yes. If
those fuckers.
They come on, we just like ignore them and start talking about vampire lore. They're like, why the fuck are we even here?
Well, their EP, I think it was an EP. Or maybe it was an actual album. Maybe it was an actual album. I don't remember. But I do remember that it was based off of Edgar Allan Poe. So it's like literally the whole album's like a concept album for Edgar Allan Poe.
All I know is that the history of vampirism goes back centuries, way before a lot of other modern day monsters that we have was ever created. But there are obviously stories of different types of monsters throughout history that cause things, angering the gods and stuff like that, you know. just when you start looking at all the different gods and the lore and everything, Les Amen, Halloween as we know it, appealing to the spirits and stuff, demon possession, just there's so many avenues of lore that we could go into and really start breaking down some histories.
Well, if you really want to go ancient and keep it in line with all the biblical talk, Lazarus is considered to be the first undead.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
He died,
Oh.
resurrected. Lazarus. That even predates the zombie Jesus idea where, Jesus also died and resurrected, but Lazarus beat him to the punch.
Isn't there like a Lazarus glove or a Lazarus scepter or something that came from that whole story that could resurrect? I've heard of it, and I know a little bit about it, but I'm not well educated in it. But isn't there something that like people search for like centuries, the Lazarus glove or scepter or something?
I believe you're thinking of the Lazarus pit. The pit in which if you throw somebody in there, they can resurrect. It was like heavily used in the
Could be.
Batman universe as well. But yeah, it has properties of resurrection.
The Lazarus
But-
pit. I feel like that was just a way to trick mourning families to like finally bury the body. Like just throw it in this pit and they'll come back to life. I promise.
At the cost of sanity.
Okay.
The whole like your
We
mind
have Ed.
deteriorates.
We have Ed. Ed says, why would you make fun of a guest before they're even on your show? I'm not making fun of a guest before they're on my show. Caesar and
Lucas.
have already been on the show, so I'm making fun of them now. So
I don't even
Because
think
I
we were
know
making fun of them. We were just joking about ignoring them or whatever to talk
Yep.
about vampire lore.
all right, and
I
then
don't
Ed
think
asked
we
another
make fun of
question. Ed asked another question. When does TPA Wolfric start? Tell TPA to fucking call me, okay, and I'll give you a date, okay? No. TPA
Iron Fist.
we are looking at Friday. I have to reach out to him yet and connect up. TPA does work. TPA has a job, a family, a lot of things to take care of. So for the fact that he's going to take on this show, this is a lot to take on in addition to everything else that he is taking on. So I truly, truly appreciate TPA jumping in. But he's got a very busy schedule. As soon as I find out when he's available and I can contact him and all that, I haven't even decided the color scheme for his show yet. So, but once I get a hold of him, we'll get things ironed out. But I believe it's going to be on Friday. It'll probably be before my Lana Quest interview, which is at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So he'll probably be on before that. And then, of course, I've also on the 28th, I have secured an interview with Natalie Jacoby, who's a huge Twitter person. She's actually like a number one trender on Google or on Twitter. So I have her for next, not this Friday, but next Friday. So I got my response back from the Trevor and Noah team. Unfortunately, they cannot schedule an interview at this time. So
For which one?
it's Trevor and Noah.
Yeah.
So I struck out with Trevor and Noah. Maybe one day they'll come back and say, hey, Paul, Trevor and Noah would like to come on and have an interview with you. I'm hoping that day comes. But again, Trevor Noah, he is famous. He is big. He is huge. So I can understand little old me not getting the interview, not upset. But one day it'll happen. I still have some other big ones that I'm still working on, still waiting for responses on. Okay. Do you all F with gremlins and goblins? Gremlins and goblins. I don't have anything written with gremlins and goblins. How about you?
I don't, but I know that another person in our group does. Phoenix. Remember Trick?
Phoenix. Yeah, that's right. Phoenix does. Phoenix.
Trick? I think it's Trick, right?
I think so.
Yeah. That's the name of the little goblin. So cute.
Oh, Veronica, I can't put that up on the thing and all that. That would give people the wrong idea. But thank you. Love you. All right. I think Jay lost connection. Oh, wow. We're at an hour 16. Oh, my God. The time flies when you're having fun.
Right?
Yes.
Fun.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for showing your support. We appreciate that. Next week, we're supposed to have Forgotten Faces. If not, Luke and I will continue the vampire lore discussion. We're actually going to go more into the historical aspect of vampires. Probably let's just truly dig into that. So
I guess I have research to do.
yeah, let's kind of dig into it and see what we find on vampire lore and the history of vampires. And even if it's not next show, maybe the show after, we could delve into vampire lore a little bit more.
Absolutely. And it'll definitely give us ideas for future works and shit too.
Yeah. Kind of where the origin is, the things that would kill them, why it would kill them, the different things that, salt around the door, wolf's bane around the window, garlic, around your neck, stuff like that. Things that would repel vampires that no longer work.
Something in the comments, Garo just said elves and goblins were the same thing before Tolkien. And I find that interesting because I've always, in my mind, because, millennial, Tolkien's always been around. I grew up with Tolkien. So, I never thought about them being the same. It's hard to even imagine them being the same thing, elves and goblins. I know we're trying to wind down, but that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, hey, Gaston, that is a good point. There is we'll have to bring that up in one of the episodes and all that because, at one time, elves and goblins were thought to be the same thing. Their names, I have to go back into it, but I think their names derive from different countries, meaning the same thing. I can't remember, but definitely I'll have to dig into that too. Thank you, Gaston. Anyways, thank you, everybody.
Aw.
Oh, go ahead.
No one drops random obscure facts like Gaston. All right, I'm done now.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And remember, be kind, be happy, and may good things come your way. Thank you for your support.